Hi everyone, good to be here. My name is Marijan, as already introduced, and I'm the CEO of Amodo company. We have been very active in the usage-based insurance domain, in the behavioral science, in how to use the behavioral that can be collected, the behavioral data that can be collected from the smartphone to create new generation of insurance products. Very briefly, we have created some of the top performing usage-based insurance globally, and meanwhile launched more than 50 different telematics projects with a special focus on the smartphone-based telematics, which is in particular relevant for Central Eastern European and Asian region over the world. And generally what I would like to share with you today are two things. One, market insights. What is the market actually saying? What is the potential on the market? We did some tailored research with a number of different market research agencies. So I would like to share this research and also these insights from the Central Eastern European markets. And on the other hand, also I want to share insights about the technology. And then ideally during the panel session, we can discuss what is missing in Central Eastern Europe, if anything, in order to scale it up to a significantly higher extent. This is what it's all about. Ultimately, there is zero to none doubt about the interest of the end user to have a personalized pricing as they behave, especially these days when the consumer behavior significantly changed. So 81% of all insurance customers expect personalized products, and they want to be served ideally through digital channels for a very simple reason: cost benefit and convenience. It's ultimately also the main value proposition of Uber, which is why this shouldn't be underlooked and how compelling it is. Already promising market outlook was even more revised to be even more positive after the pandemic, given the fact that the consumer preferences have been significantly shaped with the pandemic, and the preference of being served digitally also significantly increased. So the total market potential, all of the studies are the same on this particular aspect. All of the studies claim the same. The potential and interest increased significantly. Without any surprise, the US market is the biggest, but being followed then by the European and the Asian market. There's a lot of potential in the European market, but given the fact it's still a smaller market, the growth rate of the expected usage-based insurance is significantly bigger than in the US, for example. The biggest potential is in the residential vehicles, in the private vehicles, a little bit less potential in the commercial vehicles, which shouldn't come as a surprise. It's very intuitive given the number of vehicles in both of these segments. And ultimately, pay-as-you-drive as one of the solutions that is most interesting to the end users. So generally, pay-per-mile. Okay, so this is a tailored market research that was just done in February this year, where we asked a couple of different correspondents from a couple of different European countries whether they would like to purchase the pay-per-mile product, pay-as-you-drive product. And we have conducted the same study in 2017. This is particularly from the German market. And then we repeated the same study in 2022, which also gave us a very valuable input about the trends. So, for example, this year, 70% of insurance customers in German market said that they would be willing to buy a usage-based insurance product, personalized pricing, pay-per-mile, compared to 58.5% in 2017. So within 5 years period, we can see a significant spike, around 15% of the interest and the market potential in the German market that is considered to be the most conservative when it comes to these kind of products, data sharing, and so on. Down to the hot potato, as they would like to call it, what about the data? Are the customers sensitive on sharing their data? Yes, they are. Absolutely, yes. 14.7% of them, to be exact. So, which is down from 26.2% in 2017. which is giving a valuable indication about the second aspect of the customer preferences, where the fear of sharing the data, personalized data with insurance companies is going down, simply for the fact that users are used to share their data in order to get access to other services. Ultimately, it's about cost reduction and convenience. This is what the users want. And this is why they are opting into smartphone-based, usage-based insurance products. Okay, so after the market research, after the market data, there's absolutely a potential there, and we can see that every day. What are the, let's say, some of the relevant use cases out there? How are the insurance companies actually launching this on the market? Does this really exist? One in particularly interesting example, which I always like to share, because it sounds so, how to call it, futuristic, is the one that we launched with Unika in Croatia. But at the same time, it's one of the, from technical point of view and the pricing point of view, by far the most advanced program based on a smartphone that any insurance company launched globally. So what's happening here? The end user is paying a credit to insurance company, 100 euro. And when he wants to have a full comprehensive coverage, or casco, then he says, on his smartphone, he just says, turn the insurance on. And then the smartphone is listening, and when he starts driving, the credit is being deducted with every kilometer that he drives. So 10 cents less for every kilometer. So ultimately, when he finishes the drive, the system automatically detects that he stopped driving, the credit is not deducted anymore, and he's left with 90, 91, whatever euro on his credit account. So it's a fully based, prepaid casco per kilometer with a smartphone-only solution live existing today in Central Eastern European market. So it's not a future thing, it's very much the present thing. Some other things are left for the future. Nonetheless, this is an example of how also these kind of technology and products actually are coming into the Central Eastern European market. The second example that I want to share also from the Central Eastern European market, and then I'll switch to New Zealand, which is probably less relevant, but generally is the one from Croatia Insurance. This particular initiative is the most successful insurtech initiative in Europe. They have, within 12 months, captured the biggest portion of the market share that any insurtech captured in the European market within the 12 months period. We are talking about drastic growth. It is one of the truly brilliant case studies of how properly the insurance can be distributed through smartphone only. There are some speculations out there on the market. The exact numbers and figures are not shared, but we are talking about a yearly capture of a market share anywhere between 5 to 10%. So from zero, so from scratch. So this is what the proper distribution, proper marketing, and proper value proposition based on the technology can achieve today. And as I mentioned, something less relevant from the geographical point of view, but other markets are definitely going in that direction. This is an example of the Pay How You Drive program that we launched with AIG in Japan. We work very closely with AIG. AIG launched also with our technology in Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia. So really a champion when it comes to launching a telematics-based insurance product. What I wanted to share in this particular New Zealand case is how the tower insurance is using the behavior data to give value to the end user. Generally, the customer does not have to pay any excess if there is a second driver in the family. So it becomes free if the data is being given and shared, and if the customer or the driver can determine and show and demonstrate that he is a safe driver. A number of other examples, but generally I think I managed to convey the main point across. There are a plethora of usage-based insurance projects already running globally, but also in Europe, and most importantly in Central Eastern European market. And this is also another one in the Central Eastern European market, if we annect Austria to that, and not to DACH, but generally considered to be there, which is from Porsche. Porsche is giving monthly cashback to their users who are not using the phone while driving, so typing messages and so on. And this is actually a very incentivizing reward. It's a significant cashback that the users are getting, and it's also something that is live today in our region. I'll cover this one as well because it has a little bit different business model behind. And I'm personally a believer that this is a best way how to approach the Central Eastern European market in a phase one. So this is a broker in the UK. The customer downloads the application, uses it for 20 days, and then uninstalls it. No more data collection, nothing, niente nada. But after these 20 days, based on the technology, the user gets a personalized quote. And then he purchases the quote, he can get the quote from the smartphone. He can use this code to go to point of sale, physical point of sale, or to the web page. Doesn't have to, the whole process does not have to be closed on the smartphone, but the most important and relevant thing is that he's getting a personalized quote based on his behavior after 20 days. So for any insurer or broker that is concerned about the data privacy, about the technology cost, this is the way to go. 20 days, scan, do the snapshot, issue a quote, buy. And with most of the brokers that we have been working with, we are talking about from the scratch, within 12 months period, we are talking about 10 to 15,000 quotes a month. So a serious business can be generated and is generated with this particular business model and how the telematics technology is used or can be used. Okay. When discussing about the telematics technology, everyone is thinking about motor insurance. However, the benefits are much bigger than that, and this is very often overlooked. However, we have seen in the practice insurance companies or insurance brokers getting a very tangible business value out of it if they use this data and technology in extended manners. Very briefly, Amodo is about smartphone-based telematics, and if for any insurance company that wants to launch pay how you drive, smartphone telematics is the way to go. If we are talking about pay per mile, smartphone is one way, connected vehicle, which is still too early time for that, but we can discuss that during the panel. I'm sure we'll have a good discussion there. Anyhow, then the connected vehicles can be used. So this is for the pay how you drive. Smartphone only, because many other behavior data can be collected as well, such as making phone calls while driving. Telematics data today, telematics technology, Amodo technology, collects information about the driver behavior even when he leaves the vehicle. But generally, we are using the vehicle, 4–6% of the day. What happens with the remaining of the day, right? 90–95%. What's happening with that particular user? And can we use that behavior data to offer or to price other insurance products as well? Now, this is something that people do not talk about that much. When this data is contextualized, so on one hand, the data is collected from the smartphone where the user is walking, biking, cycling, hiking, and then it's contextualized, you can get super valuable insights. Now, this particular dashboard from our technology is showing you down here on the lower part, 0 to 24 hours is horizontal and vertical is the day in the week. And what you can see, the green box is the time when the person was at home. The white box is the time when the person was not at home. And you know what, for which reasons is that particularly now used? There are a couple of insurance companies in Asian market that offer 45% discount on home insurance if the user can prove that he was working from home 3 or more days in a week. But there is no certificate to guarantee for that. No employer is going to issue a certificate for that because there's no system that tracks that data. So for that reason, this benefit cannot be efficiently claimed or offered to the end user. Now with this technology, it can. And this makes a lot of difference for the markets where home insurance is a relevant product, but also demonstrates how the value of technology, of telematics technology, goes well beyond motor insurance. Insights about whether the customer has a bike is valuable for promotional purposes, not necessarily for pricing. Telematics is there to support pricing, which everyone is talking about, and number 2, promotion, and this is very much overlooked, but super valuable for conversion and for creating quotes, generating quotes through the smartphone. we can see from the data whether the customer has a bike. We can see whether the customer is traveling abroad. And we can also see whether the customer has a dog. So without giving this input, we see from smartphone sensor if somebody has a dog. So this is kind of insights that can be collected from smartphone-only technology. The question always remains, how do you want to use it, and whether in Central Eastern European market there are insurance products that can actually benefit from that, right? But this is what telematics technology can do today, AmodoTechnology can do today. The scoring, we are also talking a lot about the scoring, right? How to price the driver score, and as we heard in the previous presentation, it's meanwhile quite a mature technology, quite a mature rating, and very reliable to price the product. But from this data, what we see is a big hype today, is also calculation of the CO2 emissions. Now, with the smartphone-only device, we measure with the 99% reliability and precision what is the CO2 emission of the person in a given day. And now for those companies running any kind of ESG programs, this became detrimental. All of our insurance customers actually decided to opt in and launch this product on this particular calculation on the market. CO2 emission, very relevant, second most important topic in the European Union. Okay, third. Okay, now that's in terms of the technology capability and going beyond motor insurance. It's really about connecting your business with the customer, not with the car, with the customer, getting the data about the customer, not about the car, and then using the data from the customer to sell not only car-related insurance products, but customer-related insurance products, meaning everything else you have in the portfolio, the data can support it. And now coming to the second point, it not only goes beyond motor insurance, it also goes beyond pricing, because we are very much and very often talking about pricing, how to price it, which became de facto standard. Everyone knows how to do it, but now it's going, telematics supports you to go beyond that. Something that is not that commonly discussed in the world of insurance telematics, at least. 93% of the insurance customers would like to be served by one insurance company. They don't want to go to 3 different agents when they have 3 different policies. They don't want to buy travel insurance with insurance company A, health from insurance company B, home insurance from insurance company C. It's a hassle. That's it. It's a hassle. And they're willing to pay premium, meaning extra, more money for their second insurance products if they can get it from their existing insurance provider. Now, 93% want to have more than one insurance policy with one insurance provider. 17% actually have, which clearly, visually indicates the gap on the market, indicates the opportunity on the market. A very important KPI, per customer product density. Average insurance company or insurance broker has a per customer product density of 1.2, meaning that every 5th client buys a second insurance policy. Now, it has been demonstrated that with the structured cross-selling programs, leveraging on the technology and consumer insights and behavior, this is increased to 2.8, meaning that every customer has on average 2.8 policies. Now, this is a very significant increase in monetization of every single user without having excessive customer acquisition cost. If I'm too technical, I'll go back to the next slide. Nonetheless, this is very often overlooked, and with the technology that collects behavior data, very targeted promotion campaigns can be done. And I try to speed up now. We are segmenting user when we identify a certain traveling behavior, whether in country, whether outside of the country. We know that the length of a stay influences the risk exposure when it comes to travel insurance. All of these data is collected. Users are segmented based on their behavior and can be targeted with a particular insurance product, in this case, travel insurance. We have been generating around 5,000 to 10,000 quotes for every campaign. In this particular case, we were monitoring which users are stopping in the morning at a certain time of the day in front of elementary schools to offer them child accident insurance product. So between 5,000 and 10,000 of child accident insurance products have been sold through this method. Pet insurance, less relevant for our region, but also when we indicate that there is a higher probability of a user having a pet, having a dog, then we can automatically push notification and give a quote for the pet insurance. Unpaved roads, when we identify that the users are driving off-road, extra windshield coverage can be offered through the technology. Also, it goes beyond promotion, it also goes in the direction of the service. So when we identify that there is a hail coming into the region where the user is located, we can give an indication about hail or any kind of a storm coming into his direction, which influences also the potential claim for the car. Number of other options, maybe for some CE countries, but in Brazil, for example, it was very important for an underwriter to understand whether the user is parking his car in favela regions. This is also very common in South Africa, maybe in some cases in Central Eastern Europe, and we haven't deployed that particular algorithm in Central Eastern European market yet, nonetheless also a technology capability. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to panel, and then I can answer some of the questions in terms of how can we deploy that or how can we bring value with this technology more in the Central Eastern European markets.
Thank you very much, Marijan.